RMU Live. Jon Fisher has all the details on RMU's version of the Hunger Games housing style. The state of Indiana is now divided over a new religious freedom law, and a German newspaper has released the final moments of the Germanwings plane before it crashed. Next. Welcome back to RMU Live for Monday, March 30th, 2015. I'm Hannah Smith.
And I'm Victoria Lomax. Even though spring technically began on Friday, the weather is saying otherwise. Jordan?
Thanks, girls. So we are talking about beautiful conditions outside. We have sunny conditions, partly cloudy conditions, and, well, that's not the right graphic, but we'll continue to go on here. We'll be talking about some sunny skies today, and warm will be near 50 degrees today. Again, everyone's going to be seeing sunny skies. I have a near 70-degree temperature in my forecast, and also some rain to talk about, but let's catch up on all the latest news at the news desk.
230 groups applied, but only 80 of those were able to get on-campus housing for next year. RMU Live's own Jon Fisher reports.
After only 28% of groups that did get apartments, there is still the aftermath of, well, where are we going to live? Upperclassmen like juniors and seniors should have gotten apartments, but the sophomores are the ones taking the rest of the spots.
I think that the housing here is pretty okay. I mean, for the most part, freshmen, they get to go into the traditional dorms, and then as you move up, you hopefully get to go into the apartments if that's what you want.
Every March comes housing selection time, and Robert Morris University has trouble putting students where they want to be placed. In 295 groups on campus of students that want to be in apartments, not all of them get to be where they want come the next semester. With a full kitchen, big living room, 3 to 4 bedrooms, and 2 bathrooms, students that want to get the apartments are happy, and for those that don't, are very upset.
I live in Yorktown currently, and we wanted to get an apartment. That was our plan. So I got 3 other roommates to live with me, and we did not get one. And they were going to get an off-campus apartment, and I couldn't do that, so I was going to commute because of that. And then they ended up living in Yorktown, so that's where I'm going to be living again next year. I think they should add more apartments. I know a lot of people really like that there's a kitchen involved, so I think they should add more.
Student Life has not commented on the situation. All that they are saying is there are enough beds for all of the students to live on. Reporting out here on the Washington lawn, I'm Jon Fisher, RMU Central Media.
For details on the next steps in the housing process and what is still available, visit www.studentlife.rmu.edu/residence-life.
After talks with Fordham University over a possible coaching position, RMU men's basketball coach Andy Toole is deciding to remain with the Colonials. The 5th-year coach interviewed with Fordham Thursday following their recent firing of head coach Tom Pecora. This season, Andy Toole coached the Colonials to a Northeast Conference Tournament championship and an advance to round 64 of the NCAA tournament. Robert Morris University Director of Athletics Craig Coleman released the following statement regarding Coach Toole. "We're thrilled that Andy has decided to remain at RMU," Coleman said. "He has accomplished a great deal with our program, and we have full confidence that he can take our program to even greater heights."
The Pittsburgh Speaker Series announced the 2015-2016 lineup of its 14th season. Kicking it all off on October 14th will be best-selling author and Academy Award winner John Irving, followed by Dr. Sandra Gupta, Chief Medical Correspondent for CNN in November, and Dennis Ross, a Middle East and Soviet policy specialist who served as a diplomat under 4 presidents, will be here in December. For an entire list, you can check it out at rmu.edu website under news.
The RMU-produced documentary, We Built This City, How the Allegheny Conference Remade Pittsburgh, has taken home a slew of awards recently. 3 Bronze Telly Awards for Documentary Program, Writing, and Directing, and 2 Silver Reel Awards for Writing and Documentary Shorts. The film was co-produced by Michael DeLauro, Director of the Academic Media Center, and Provost David Jamison. DeLauro directed, and Jamison wrote the script for the documentary.
Officers were called to break up a fight in the South Side when a second fight occurred across the street at local bar and kitchen after a possible theft, according to police. When police responded to the fight, a man that was an employee of the restaurant was discovered to have been hiding frozen food in his pants. 3 people got involved in the altercation with police during the incidents and are now facing charges.
Just outside Philadelphia, a small plane crash claimed the lives of the only 2 passengers aboard the aircraft. At around 1:30 p.m., emergency officials were called to the scene 20 miles west of Philadelphia near Brandywine. According to officials, the pilot lost control of the plane before it went down into a field. The Federal Aviation Administration and the National Transportation on Safety Board are investigating the cause of the crash.
And for everything you need to know involving RMU news, sports, and arts and entertainment, be sure to check out rmucenturymedia.com. We have more news from around the world coming up after the break, including the controversial law that has the state of Indiana divided.
New information about Germanwings plane crash and why officials aren't happy about it.
Plus, what investigators are saying about another plane crash in Canada next.
Looking for these? You drive buzzed. It could be one very expensive ride.
First, you gotta make bail. Then pay me to get your car back.
Your insurance premiums will go through the roof.
And my legal fees just keep adding up. All told, it could end up costing you $10,000.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
To Maddie, congrats on paying off all those student loans.
Finally, right?
How'd you manage that anyway?
I started tracking my spending, changed a couple of habits.
Wow, I'm kind of living paycheck to paycheck right now. I don't even know how I'm doing it.
Well, have you tried saving a little?
I want to, but where's that money gonna come from? Bill collectors, they're the worst. Am I right?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind.
Not home.
Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
Indiana Governor Mike Pence says concerns over the state's new religious freedom law is the result of a tremendous amount of misinformation and misunderstanding. CNN's St. Rosa Flores reports.
This is not about discrimination. Yes or no? If a florist in Indiana refuses to serve a gay couple at their wedding, is that legal now in Indiana?
George, this is where this debate has gone.
Sir, yes or no?
Well,
Governor Pence punting on the key question fueling debate over Indiana's Religious Freedom Restoration Act. His insistence that the bill is pro-religious freedom and not pro-discrimination doing little to quiet the firestorm. Thousands over the weekend outraged. Concerned that the law could give businesses a license to discriminate based on religious grounds.
it does not apply to disputes between individuals unless government action is involved.
This shop in Lebanon makes custom products and supports it.
I think it protects me from the government forcing me to do something that's against my will. Anybody is welcome in our business.
Still, other business owners against it are taking a stand. Overnight, the CEO of Apple firing back in this Washington Post op-ed, writing, "On behalf of Apple, I'm standing up to oppose this new wave of legislation, wherever it emerges." Indiana-based Angie's List now backing out of a $40 million expansion deal.
This transaction is not palatable to us.
And with the NCAA Final Four just days away, former NBA star and TNT analyst Charles Barkley slammed the law, saying, quote, "As long as anti-gay legislation exists in any state, I strongly believe big events such as the Final Four and Super Bowl should not be held in those states' cities."
Pence said he's open to legislative efforts to clarify the religious freedom law.
The sounds recorded on one of the black boxes recovered from downed Germanwings Flight 9525 firmed up investigators' theory that the co-pilot locked the captain out of the cockpit and then crashed the plane.
For God's sake, open the door. Those 6 words are believed to be among the captain's last as he pleaded with the co-pilot to let him back in the cockpit. The German newspaper Bild published what it claims is a summary of the plane's cockpit voice recorder, which has not yet been released by investigators. CNN cannot independently verify the information from the report, but a spokeswoman from France's Accident Investigation Agency says the BEA is dismayed by the leak, calling the report voyeurism.
There must be some validity to it because while the authorities are outraged, they haven't denied that it was accurate. It certainly points us in a direction that it was an intentional act by the co-pilot.
The Bild report states the pilot told his co-pilot before takeoff that he hadn't had time to use the restroom. Once they reached cruising altitude, he did so. At that point, French authorities have said co-pilot Andreas Lubitz locked the flight's captain out of the cockpit. The newspaper says air traffic radar detected the plane's descent. 3 minutes later, the cockpit alarms start sounding. Then the captain can be heard screaming, "For God's sake, open the door." Within 13 minutes of the pilot first leaving the cockpit, the report says the plane's wing can be heard scraping the mountainside. Expect investigators to question the relatives, friends, and co-workers of Lubitz as they try to pin down what could have prompted the man to steer a plane full of people into the ground. I'm Andrew Spencer, reporting.
Lead investigator for the French inquiry, Jean-Pierre Michel, said Saturday that investigators are not ruling out any scenario with respect to the crash at this point.
From the plane crash in the Alps last week, we now go to a more recent plane crash in Canada. The Transportation of Safety Board of Canada investigators are looking into the wreckage of Air Canada flight AC624 to find out what caused the crash. Investigators are searching the debris field after the crash landing early Sunday that sent 23 people to the hospital, but with no critical injuries. The cockpit recorder and voice data recorder have been recovered and were sent to Ottawa for analysis. Results are expected in a day or two.
Personal information regarding President Obama and 30 other world leaders who attended last year's Group of 20 summit in Brisbane, Australia, was accidentally released after an email mix-up. British newspaper The Guardian reported that an employee of Australia's immigration office sent personal information to an organizer of the Asian Cup soccer tournament. The email contained sensitive information from passport numbers to visa numbers. Officials in Australia's privacy office were immediately notified of the mix-up, and the information was deleted. The White House had no immediate comment on the matter.
Iranian officials have backed away from a critical element of the proposed nuclear agreement. With the deadline only 2 days away, Iran has said they are no longer willing to ship their atomic fuel out of the country. After months of agreement to send uranium to Russia, Iran's deputy foreign minister said that they wouldn't be sending it out after the years and billions of dollars Iran originally spent to acquire it.
In an interview with CBS correspondent Charlie Rose, Syrian President Bashar al-Assad opened up about the state of Syria. While a 4-year-old civil war in Syria drags on, Assad's regime has been accused of devastating attacks on civilians. Last month, Secretary of State John Kerry told CBS News that the U.S. is open to negotiating with Syria, something Assad admitted to Rose that he would also be willing to do. With the rise of ISIS in Syria, Assad is no longer the highest priority for the United States.
South African comedian Trevor Noah will be replacing longtime Daily Show host Jon Stewart. Noah made his first appearance as a contributor by making jabs at the racial tensions in America by saying he never thought he would be more afraid of the police in America than in South Africa. There is no timetable yet for when Stewart will make his final appearance, but producers will want Noah to settle into his new role before the 2016 presidential elections. The Final Four has been decided, and Kristen Kudlow takes us through the thrilling journey of how the teams got there, as well as what to expect.
This year's Final Four matchups promise to be exciting, and I'll bring you all the details in my sports.
And I have some warmer weather on the way, including a 70-degree temperature. What day? I have my full forecast coming up.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
When I get all steamed up, then I shout.
Tip me over and pour me out. Oh. The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Cheers. Take time to be a dad today.
Oh, look, a redhead.
Staring contest.
You still got it.
I know.
Come alive with the forest.
The dad was cute. You were looking right at us.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
The average text takes your eyes off the road for nearly 5 seconds.
Back to RMU Live, I'm Kristen Kudlow with this week's Sports Wrap-Up. As the NCAA tournament continues, but only 4 teams are left. Kentucky, Wisconsin, Michigan State, and Duke all fought their way into the Final Four and earned their spots, but the remaining teams of the Elite Eight weren't going without a fight. Games like Kentucky and Notre Dame and Arizona and Wisconsin all came down to the final moments where a few missed baskets or rebounds were the difference. But the most impressive performance in the Elite Eight came from the 7th-seeded Michigan State, who took on number 4 Louisville. Michigan State defeated Louisville in overtime and will take on Duke Saturday at 6 in their first game of the Final Four. If any team has the ability to defeat Duke, it's this red-hot Michigan State team. And even last year, a 7th seed won the entire tournament. Just saying. On the other side of the conference, Kentucky takes on Wisconsin Saturday at 8:50. Kentucky has a huge presence on the court, and with their lineup averaging 6'6" in height, but Wisconsin matches that, averaging 6'5" for their starters. Now, I can't predict how Saturday's games are going to go, but I can say this is one of our best match Final Fours, and we're gonna have a great show. Well, it's unfortunately all the time we have left over here in sports. Now to join with the weather.
Thank you, Kristen. We're going to be warming up, and we're going to be talking about warmer temperatures. Today's sunshine, we're going to be seeing blue skies. I don't know what blue skies are, but I hope that you guys enjoy it. Also, tomorrow it's going to be warmer. There's a chance of snow showers early. I was talking about that earlier. I do want to take a look at the 5-day because warmer temperatures are on the way. Much warmer for the week. We can see, look at Thursday, that nearly 70-degree temperature. Friday, another chance of rain because another cold front's going to come through. But look at these overnight temperatures, much nicer, milder. We're going to be seeing more spring-like temperatures. I think you're going to enjoy it because I hope that you guys enjoy it. Again, Thursday, nice. Friday, a little bit of chance of rain. And of course, for the rest of the week, warmer temperatures. Let's head back to the news desk, guys.
Thank you, Kristen, for this week's sports, and Jordan on weather. That's all we have for RMU Live this afternoon.
We'll see you next time.